When was the last time you read a book that didn't just entertain you or didn't just teach you something, but actually shifted how you see your business, how you build your business, how you support your business, how you sell your business? And today I want to talk about three books who have really changed the way I think about structure, about leadership, about value, the value I'm building in my business, and books that I think can shift some things for you as well. Welcome to Girls Make Bank, the podcast show for women who want to learn the art of selling for business and for life. I'm Jack White, seasoned sales professional, entrepreneur, and owner of Honeybees Group. Come back each week to hear inspiring stories from some of our favorite business owners. Learn how to take the ache out of selling and make bank. We're all in this together, so let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Girls Make Bank. I am your host, Jack White, and today I want to kick things off with a question. When was the last time you read a book that didn't just entertain you or didn't just teach you something, but actually shifted how you see your business, how you build your business, how you support your business, how you sell your business? I have been an avid reader my whole life. I read both for pleasure. Any young adult book that potentially comes in a trilogy is probably on my list of read books. I read for my spirituality, and I definitely read to learn. And today I want to talk about three books who have really changed the way I think about structure, the way I think about leadership, the way I think about value, the value I'm building in my business, and books that I think can shift some things for you as well. So, the three books that I want to dig into are Who, Not How, Backable, and Built to Sell. So, I'm going to share what I like about each of these books, what they're about, and how I think any small business owner, service provider, fractional, or small agency owner can really implement these books, the learnings, into their business. So the first one is Who, Not How: The Formula to Achieve Bigger Goals Through Accelerating Teamwork. This is by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. So they argue that most of us in our business are really asking the wrong questions when we're facing big goals. So we often ask, how can I do this? How can I change this thing in my business? When really what we should be asking is, who can help me do that? Because when we shift from the how am I going to do this to the who can help me achieve this goal, a couple things happen. Number one is we tap into collaboration, which I am all about. Number two is we speed up growth within our business. The third thing that happens when we talk about who, not how, is we really free ourselves from overwhelm and we multiply what we can achieve. And so I started Honeybees Group 7 years ago. For years, I operated as a solo business provider, and I basically did everything in my business: the client work, the content, the marketing, the networking. It worked for me for many, many years. As my business has shifted over the last year, the way I run my business has needed to shift. And reading this book, it's been around for a while, I've only read it recently, has really helped change how I think about running my business and managing my time. So, what does that mean? I don't feel compelled to do everything in my business. I realize that the fastest way for me to grow is to, number one, hire people that I can learn from who can help me get there faster. And number two, hire people in my business who can do work that I shouldn't be doing in my business. And so, Who, Not How really focuses on the art of delegation, the art of finding people who can help you. And so this is great. Even if you are a fractional or a solopreneur, everyone needs support. And I've taken a lot of these principles and have even applied them into my personal life. And so I highly recommend Who Not How as a business read. The second book I love that I recommend all of the time is called Backable: The Surprising Truth Behind What Makes People Take a Chance on You. And this is by Sunil Gupta. He is on faculty at Harvard University. He has worked with Google Ventures, Airbnb, SpaceX, Greylock, just has a ton of business experience. This book is primarily for early stage companies that are looking to raise VC money. And this talks about how investors view entrepreneurs as people who they are potentially investing in. So it's not a logical, like, must read for small business owners and service providers. Why I do think it's important for all of us to read is because we are always asking for people to invest in us, right? Not only are people buying the results that our services provide, they are investing in us. And so this book talks about how to present your ideas, how to present your opportunities, how to present your offers in a way that gets people to believe in you, putting your mission first, putting your enthusiasm first, putting the problem that you're solving first. And I think all of it is very relevant for service providers, fractionals, small agency owners. And so as you're thinking about what makes people want to invest their money with me to help grow their business and solve their problems, I think Backable is a great book to read and get a sense of that. So even though this book is for people who are raising VC backed investments, I think it's great for service providers who want to learn about why people invest in other people, right? What are the skills and passion and mission that makes people want to invest in you? And then the third book that I think everyone should read is called Built to Sell: Creating a Business That Can Thrive Without You. Karen Kirpin talked about this book a few months ago now on this podcast, and I had read it a long time ago and went back and had to re-buy a copy of it. And it's a great book. As service providers, as solopreneurs, as fractionals, even small agency owners, we tend to think about our businesses as being kind of our job or our paycheck. What I love about this book is it talks about how you can build your business as a valuable asset that you can sell later on. And it's very easy to read. It's straightforward. It has wonderful storytelling elements that make it really easy to see yourself in this application. I highly recommend, even if you are a fractional or a consultant, that you read Built to Sell. It will change the way you think about how you build and scale and operationalize your business. And I think this is a really, really valuable read for any small business service provider owner. One interesting thing about all three of these books is that they were all written by men. Coco Selman, I was on her podcast a few weeks ago, and one of the things she asks all of her podcast guests is to name their favorite business book that was written by a woman. And it is actually really difficult to do because I found that most business books are written by men. In a few weeks, I will have a guest on who is doing something to try to change that. And she is helping women business leaders find their voices through podcasting and ultimately writing books to share the wisdom and the experience that we have in business to help other people in business. And so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, if you don't have these books, I highly recommend you get them. I think books are incredibly powerful. not just the value in owning them or reading them once. I often go back to these books and read them again or read sections of them again. I let them shift where I am and how I'm thinking about my business as my businesses grow and change, and businesses are constantly evolving also. So take a look at these books. Let me know what you think. I would love to hear about other business books that you have read that have changed your perspective or that you have learned a lot from. So please tell me those. So thank you for listening to this episode of Girls Make Bank. If you love this episode, please share it with somebody who needs to hear it. I look forward to seeing you next week. Talk to you soon. Thank you for listening to this episode of Girls Make Bank. If you like what you've heard, please remember to subscribe, like, and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. Please review and share our show to help spread the word and help your girls make bank. And I'd love to hear from you. Connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram, or visit honeybeesgroup.co. Until next time, friends.